2, Chapter 1, The House of Risk. Dr. Armand Vail was no longer hiding. The fog no longer concealed him. The mirror no longer resisted him. The man who once sought to defy death now stalked life itself, and he had no interest in playing by its rules. He walked into the casino like a wolf, stepping into a ballroom. A long black coat trailed behind him. His face, still monstrous, still twisted from the transformation, drew stares the moment he passed the threshold. Conversation halted. Glasses froze mid-air. The pianist missed a note, and Vail smiled. He loved their fear. He approached the nearest table without a word. Blackjack. The dealer hesitated, unsure if he should speak, deal, or run. Vail reached into his coat, pulled out a roll of bills, and slammed it onto the table. "Deal," he said. The chips clinked into place. Hands were dealt. Someone behind him whispered something under their breath. A joke, maybe, or an insult poorly veiled in alcohol. "You see that guy's face? He looks like death in a lab coat." Vail stood slowly, turned. The man barely had time to blink before Vail's fist crushed into his jaw, sending him backward across the chairs and into the velvet ropes. Gasps, screams. Vail walked over, picked up a half-full whiskey glass, and smashed it on the table, the jagged stem still in hand. "Say it again," he whispered, crouching toward the stunned man. But the man didn't say anything. He scrambled to his feet and ran, bloody and stumbling, into the night. Vail stood upright and turned to the rest of the room. No one challenged him. He walked back to the table and flicked his chips forward. He moved next to the roulette wheel. The croupier paled as Vail approached. "Put it on 13, Vail said. The dealer hesitated. "Put it on 13. The ball spun. The wheel turned. Time slowed. Vail stared through the spin like a predator, watching the ribs of a rabbit rise and fall. It landed on 22. A breath. "Unfortunate," the dealer said. Vail leaned in slowly. "You better pray it was chance, because if I find out you nudged that wheel with a magnet under the table, or any of your little tricks." He glanced towards the security cameras. "I will take this place apart, molecule by molecule." The croupier raised his hands. "Sir, Get your manager." Moments later, a man in a blazer with 2 white teeth and 2 slick hair arrived with 2 security officers behind him. "I'm afraid we're going to have to—" "No," Vail interrupted. "You don't understand who I am. You think I'm a freak, a madman, but I am a very well-connected freak. I know people, real people, who fund places like this and burn them down just to see how fast the ashes settle. You want to risk their money over one bet?" The manager hesitated. "Of course not, sir. Enjoy your evening." Vail smirked. Power was more addictive than blood. He turned away from the wheel towards the bar. That's when he saw her. Young, sharp features, silk dress. Alone but not uncertain. She had been watching the entire time, eyes narrowed in disgust. Judging him. Good. He approached slowly, standing beside her without invitation. "You don't like my face, do you?" She didn't respond. "But I like yours. Maybe I'll take it home with me." She stood and tried to back away, voice trembling. "Don't touch me!" He grabbed her wrist, gently at first, like a lover, then harder, like a leash. She gasped. A man from the bar stepped forward. "Let her go." Vail turned. He didn't raise a hand. He didn't growl or threaten. He just looked at the man. That was enough. The man stopped mid-step, eyes widened. Courage melted. Vail turned back to her. "We're leaving," she screamed. Fought. He didn't care. He dragged her past the tables, past the guards, past the people who pretended not to see, and out into the night. Chapter 2. The mask removed. She struggled in his grip as they walked down the empty street, her heels scraping, her voice begging. But Vail didn't hear her pleas. He was speaking now, not to her, but to the world. "You look at me," he said, "and you see a monster. But I wonder, do you know why?" She didn't answer. "It's because I've stopped pretending." He tightened his grip on her wrist. Not enough to hurt, just enough to own. We all wear masks. Polite smiles, hollow pleasantries. We say the right things to the right people at the right times, not because we believe them, but because we're terrified not to. Terrified someone might see who we really are. She whimpered. He looked down at her. "Don't cry, my dear. You should be proud. You're getting a glimpse of what true freedom looks like. I've spent my life resisting temptation, dedication, self-denial. For what? Approval, applause, legacy." He spat on the sidewalk. "All lies, all weakness." They passed a dark alley. Somewhere in the distance, glass shattered. A dog barked once, then stopped. "You think me cruel, but I've simply stopped hiding what you all feel, what you all are. Rage, envy, lust, pride. The monster isn't new. The monster was always here. I've just unleashed it." She looked up at him, eyes wet, but curious. "Then what happens now?" she whispered. He stopped walking, turned toward her. Now I do all the things I never let myself do. I taste what I want, take what I desire, crush what offends me, because I finally understand something." He released her wrist to gesture towards the empty street. "The world doesn't want righteousness. It wants permission. It begs for it. People don't act good because they are good. They act good because they're afraid not to be. They fear the stares, the gossip, the judgment." She stepped back. He didn't notice. "And I no longer fear anything." She turned, ran. He didn't chase her. Instead, he chuckled, then laughed. "You can run, little dove, but I'll never stop. From this day forward..." He turned his eyes to the sky. "I will never stop doing the things I want to do." He walked now with purpose, not as a man burdened by guilt, but as a god newly born. A couple walking hand in hand passed him on the pavement. He pushed them aside without a word. The man turned to protest. "Hey!" Vail turned slowly. The man froze when he saw the face. Not a face. A curse made flesh. The man paled, grabbed his partner, and stumbled away into the night. Vail smiled. An old beggar sat near the corner shop, wrapped in a tattered blanket. "Spare anything, sir?" the man croaked. "Even just enough for a warm drink." Vail stopped, looked at him, then grabbed him by the collar. "You want warmth? Get a job. You want comfort? Earn it. You want a life? Make one. Don't hold your hand out like a dog and beg for scraps." He threw the beggar into the street. The man tumbled like a sack of rags. Vail didn't look back. He just laughed. By the time he reached the house, the city was quiet again. He opened the heavy door of his home, his laboratory, closed it behind him. The silence was thick, but not empty. It buzzed with the echoes of his transformation, of choices finally made. He walked into the lab, lit dimly by old bulbs and flickering instruments. The mirror stood waiting. He walked to it, stared. The face stared back. Not monstrous, not quite, but not human either. "Yes," he said softly, "this is who I was always meant to be." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Chapter 3. The mirror between us.
"I have won."
Dr. Armand Vail lies crumpled beneath his desk, arms limp, face pale with sweat. He stirs, gasps, sits up with a violent jolt. His hands tremble. He stares at them. They're normal. He staggers to his feet, rushes to the mirror, looks in. It's him, not the creature, not the grotesque smile, just Dr. Vail. He leans closer, eyes bloodshot. Softly, "It's me. It's me again." He stares into his reflection, but behind his eyes, flashes. A woman screaming, a casino spinning, a beggar lying in the street. but it feels distant, like a dream he barely remembers. What was I? He grabs a notepad, begins writing furiously. Symptoms: partial amnesia, behavior erratic, control lost, conscience present now, absent last night. Question: am I becoming something else, or is something else becoming me? He moves to the lab table, draws blood from his own arm, slides the vial under a microscope, stares. His breath catches. It's still there. The blood is different, not corrupted, but merged. It pulses unnaturally under the glass, like it's alive. No, this isn't right. I must find a way to separate it, to cleanse it, to fix myself. He moves fast now. Chemicals, slides, notes, tests. Hours pass. The sun climbs high, then begins to fall. Outside the windows, darkness. Inside, still no answers. Beakers boil. Formulas fail. Every solution turns to nothing. His hands shake with frustration. Why can't I fix this? He turns back to the blood. It still pulses, still glows faintly red, like a warning. The house is quiet, but something has changed. The pain grips his chest. He doubles over. No, not again. The pain spreads like fire. Muscles twist, bones stretch. He crashes into the mirror. Glass cracks, but he forces himself to look. And there he is, not a reflection, a presence. The other Vail. The grotesque grin, the eyes of mockery, the face that lives behind his own. Other Vail low, venomous. You thought yourself stronger than me. You thought intellect could drown out hunger. Vail trembles. Other Vail continues. But this isn't hunger for food, dear doctor. It's hunger for freedom, for pleasure, for indulgence, for all the things you spent your life denying. He steps closer to the cracked glass. You think yourself noble. You're not noble, Vail. You're cowardly. You chained your desires. You buried your passions. You convinced yourself it was discipline. Leans in, but it was fear. Vail backs away. You are not me. The voice laughs. I am everything you buried, and now I'm free. He lunges. The mirror shatters. Darkness swallows the room, and the night begins again. Chapter 4. Blood on the pavement. The night had not yet claimed midnight, but it already belonged to him. Dr. Vail, no longer the man, but the monstrous form of him, stepped boldly onto the city streets, with a crooked grin carved across his gaunt, inhuman face. Shadows clung to him, yet he walked in plain sight, as if daring the world to see. He didn't flinch from the gazes of strangers. He invited them. People turned to look, then quickly looked away. None could hold his stare for more than a second. Something in those eyes unsettled them. Too bright, too knowing, too alive, or perhaps too dead. Vail moved with a purpose now, though he didn't understand where it came from. The blood had gifted him more than strength. It had awakened instincts, a compass that hummed deep within his bones, guiding his every step. He trusted it. A cyclist sped down the path, passing too close. Vail spun without hesitation and kicked the bicycle out from under him. The rider crashed to the pavement with a scream. Vail loomed over him, grinning. Careful, he said, voice dripping mockery. You could hurt someone. He turned away before the cyclist could even look up. Across the street, cars honked as he stepped off the curb, unconcerned. One vehicle braked hard, skidding inches from him and blaring its horn. He turned slowly, stalked to the front of the car, bent the windscreen wipers back with a deliberate snap, then leaned toward the driver and said with quiet menace, I dare you. Come out. Please come out. The driver sped off. Vail laughed, a rasping, guttural sound that echoed down the fog-thick street. Cowards. Every last one of you. You talk, you preach, you smile, but it's all pretense, all of it. righteousness, happiness, virtue. It's a costume, a mask you wear so no one sees the monster. But I see you. I see what you hide behind your eyes." He walked on, pushing people out of the way, scattering them like wind-blown paper. Then he stopped. He had arrived. He stood outside the house, her house, the one from the night before, the girl who had dared look at him with disgust. He knocked once. She opened the door halfway, eyes wide. How did you? He shoved the door open and stepped inside. Another woman was there, a friend. She stepped forward, shocked. Vail barely acknowledged her. He grabbed her by the shoulders, lifted her with monstrous ease, and threw her across the room. She struck the wall and fell limp. The first woman backed away in terror. "How do you know where I live?" "I know more than you think, my dear," he said calmly, moving toward her. "And now, you have something I want." "No, please," she begged. "Not that." "Oh no," he smiled. "Not that. I've moved past such simple needs. My appetites have evolved." He reached out. His grip found her throat, and then his mouth found her neck. She screamed once, then only whimpers. On the floor, the friend, barely conscious, watched through blurred eyes as the monster drank. The sounds were sickening, wet, final. When he was done, Vail dropped the girl like a discarded rag doll. He leaned back, staggered, overwhelmed by the sensation. Then he screamed, not in pain, but in ecstasy. "No one would dare, but I did, and I will again." He stumbled outside, his face drenched in blood. He didn't care. He wanted them to see. "This is what you fear," he shouted to the night. "Not the creature, but the freedom to do what you've always wanted, but never had the courage to do." Two men bumped into him on the pavement. This time, they didn't step aside. One sneered, "Watch where you're going, freak." The other pulled a knife. "You think you can just walk around like that?" Vail grinned wide. "You and your pathetic little tools, your desperate sense of control." The first lunged. Vail struck. The man went flying, hitting a wall with a crunch. The second ran, knife forgotten. Vail watched him go. "Run. Pretend you're good. Pretend you're brave." And then, with blood still dripping from his lips, he returned to his home, to his lab, to his mirror. He looked at himself and smiled. Chapter 5. Reflections. The lab was silent. The only sound was the slow, deliberate tap, tap, tap of footsteps on cold concrete. Dr. Vail himself again stood before the full-length mirror, staring into it with sunken eyes. The blood was gone from his face. His coat hung loose. His hands trembled. He didn't remember it all, not clearly, but he remembered enough. Then slowly, a shape shifted in the glass. He took a step back. His reflection didn't. From the mirror, the other Vail leaned forward, twisted, sneering, half man, half nightmare. The monster tilted its head and whispered, "You thought locking the door would keep me out. But I was never on the other side of it. I am the door." Dr. Vail tried to steady his breath. "You're not real?" The monster smiled. "Then why do you flinch when I speak?" It leaned closer. "You created me with blood, but I was born from your denial, from every desire you silenced, from every temptation you judged in others, but craved for yourself." Vail shook his head. "No." The voice dropped lower, calmer, icy. "I'm not your mistake, Doctor. I am your mirror, and I will keep returning until the glass shatters." Then, the reflection was gone. Only Dr. Vail remained, trembling. He looked down at his hands. They were clean, but he could still feel the blood. He whispered to the empty lab, "How do you kill something that was made from your own mind?" The mirror said nothing, but the night outside waited.